Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut at Your Service, where we feature individuals that are making a difference in their lives and in the community through their work. And I can't tell you what an honor it is to have the two women that are my guests here today who started the ministry of COPE. I have to say, like today, just preparing for this meeting, for this interview, I was telling Iris, I had a very heavy heart because no matter who you lose in your life for any reason, it takes a toll on the heart and in the spirit, and we need each other to be able to do that. I have the absolute honor of introducing Reverend Iris Sita and Brenda Moreno, who are two incredible women that have turned tragedy into purpose and are helping to fight the opioid epidemic with their words, their acts of kindness, their embracing hearts, and all the things that they do. I'm going to start with introducing Brenda. Brenda, tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name is Brenda Moreno. I am the co-founder of COPE, Caridad's Opiate Preventable Epidemic. Jonathan Figgy Ortega was my son. Jonathan was a good kid. Yes, he had his problems like every other kid. He worked hard. He went to the best schools in Connecticut, graduated from Bullard Havens. One slip up cost him his death, leaving behind two daughters and a family brokenhearted.
Well, thank you for sharing that story and sharing your son who's pictured right next to her. Reverend Sita, tell me, about your daughter. Share a little bit about her life and what brought you to start this ministry.
Well, thank you for having us, first of all. My name is Iris. I am the founder of COPE. I am Ana Sepúlveda's mom, Ana Caridad Sepúlveda, whom I named COPE after, Caridad's Opioid Preventable Epidemic. On the 24th of November of last year, I received a phone call that no parent wants to receive. I received a call from the Bridgeport Detective Department to inform me that my daughter had perished to what apparently had been an overdose. Later with time, we learned that the overdose had been caused by fentanyl. Shortly after her perish, I decided to form COPE as a coping mechanism because we are all coping with something. I'm coping with my daughter's loss. She's coping with her son's loss. And what best way to do it than to put our heart and our actions into a way in which we can reach the community. So COPE basically is a hub, a link between the community and existing agencies and their services. And what we're trying to do basically is to raise awareness, to teach parents that this can happen to anybody, to teach parents that there's way of coping, to teach parents that there's ways of us teaching also our children. We also provide referral services. We have linked with great agencies such as Liberation, GBAB, CCAR, Recovery Network. So we have quite a number. Also the Work Hub, who you happen to represent as well. The workplace, yes.
And Career Hub.
So thank you so much for that as well. So we basically work as a link between the community and existing agencies to bring awareness, to bring services, and to basically bring whatever it is that the family needs at the time. When this news came to me, I wish I would have had an agency or somebody that would have approached me and said, we're here for you. Being that I lacked that, and she did as well, and many parents have lacked that, we have become that for the community.
That link, that
Exactly.
that force, that anchor.
Yes.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit, did you guys know each other before this happened? Because I have to tell you, you guys have like this bond, like wherever I see one, ta la otra.
I am Anna's godmother.
Oh, so you were family before
Yes,
that.
yes.
So because you started your ministry like shortly after their deaths, right? So what kind of brought you to that, knowing, because usually people grieve, and I know you're grieving because we even talked a little bit about that today, but people grieve for a long time and just can't, especially when you lose a child. I think it's different, you know, when you lose other people in your family, but to lose a child, tell me how you guys came together and be like, let's start this, let's do this, let's make a difference. How did that come about?
It was her idea. You know, I mean, with so many youth and adults passing away, somebody needs to speak up. And we're trying to be that voice. We lost our children, but others don't have to. There's a way. Maybe if I saw signs once my son came home, probably I would have been able to stop him. But it's difficult when they have that disease, because it's a disease. And when she brought it to my attention, I was definitely all for it. Yes, definitely.
Well, when it came to me, I felt that I needed to do something to deflect the pain. I was not coping at the time, and I've come to realize that lately when I have found myself with less than events and less to do with cope. You know, I found myself having to face my grief. But it was really a deflecting mechanism. It was also a coping mechanism. That's why I named it COPE. We all have something that we're coping with, you know, whether it's the death of a child, the death of a family member, you know, whether it's the everyday issues of life, you know. So what better name than COPE? So yes, it was definitely a bit of a deflecting mechanism, also a coping mechanism, as much as that may sound as an oxymoron. You know, it was definitely both.
I have to say, so you and I only have known each other for a few months, but I will tell you that you've had such an impact on both of you. We met at an event.
Yes, we did.
And we just clicked it like we've known each other for like years. Because when there's people in our community that are giving back, you don't know their story or what's brought them to where they are or the way that they're championing for their community or for other people's children and families. I will tell you that we're like, we've got to work together on the same day that we met. We're like, we need to figure out, and we have put together an event that was helping young people to get information about employment. So one of the things that I definitely got from your work is that we can't stay idle and we have to figure out ways to keep our young people busy. Iris, I'm gonna ask you to just share with me, because you had mentioned that, you know, you couldn't tell like about your son. You didn't know that this was going on, and your daughter was in college. Tell us a little bit about what might be some flags, some red flags that you see now that you didn't see then, that could help maybe some of our viewers.
I saw her being quite sleepy the last few days, withdrawn. I noticed that she was not quite fixing herself. My daughter was the type of girl that in order for her to even go to the store, and she can tell you, in order for her to go to the store, she had to put on lipstick and makeup, and she had to be well done. That went out the window the last few weeks. You know, she wasn't struggling at it, but it takes a lot for a functional addict to live a life of addiction and also live a life of recovery at the same time. You know, juggling both, trying to do the best she could in school. She wasn't really in college. She was at Training Direct.
Okay.
She was becoming a PCT. She was in the last class. She had taken the first two classes, phlebotomy as well as EKG with a 4.0. This gave me an opportunity to, because we did take the class together, this gave me an opportunity to bond with her. But it also gave me an opportunity to see a lot of the signs. She wasn't at home as often as she used to be. She'll come home to take showers and then leave quickly. Or I want to go and hang out with my friends, and since she's an adult, there's but so much we can do once our children become an adult, because we lose the ability to have a say-so, especially when it comes to the psychiatric care. How do we have to be responsible for maintaining, health insurance until they're 26, yet we're not entitled to know anything because of HIPAA about our children's care? So that was a hindrance. There's a lot of room for improvement and a lot of room for growth in the system if we are to save our children.
As you can see on your TV, you can see the website. Could you read the website and how people can reach you? If they have questions, if they just need a referral or something to go, what's the website that they could reach you on?
It is copeofbridgeport.com. Am I allowed to give the phone number?
Yeah.
The phone number is 203-617-7661. So anybody in need of services can contact us. There are different links in the website where you can contact me or our co-founder directly.
I think that one of the things that impressed me when we met is I need to make this book with all these resources. So you were almost like, wherever they see you, that's where they're getting help from. And it was everything from a job to recovery services to
housing,
I know that you're doing housing, some things. I mean, you can't bypass having to go to 211, but they can definitely give you information and how to connect and things with resources. So this question is for you, Brenda. So how are the ways that as you are taking care of the world, how are you taking care of yourself? What are some things that parents can do when they're hurting and they just need to, this is what I need to do to take care of me?
By helping others, I feel it's a way of me healing. I really haven't grieved because I live this moment every day, especially if I'm out in the streets talking to the youth, giving out Narcan. It's like I relive the moment every day. So in all reality, we don't get to grieve at all. So what I do is I have a lot of faith in God. I have other children. When I feel like that, I pick up the phone. I either call my kids, my grandchildren, because he left 2 beautiful daughters behind, and one's already 12. So I can have a conversation with her, and she can understand my pain as well as I understand hers. So I try to maintain busy with my children and my family, my mom. I will call Iris. There's days that I don't call anybody, and Iris will call me. That's when I shut down. I don't like feeling that, so I call my family when I feel like that, and I have really nowhere to turn. People can call me and I can talk to them. But who can we call? We have nobody but each other to call that can understand each other's pain.
And I will tell you, I've seen your TikTok videos. She'll be in her car and she'll be in full song mode, dedicating a song to your son.
And do you know, I do that every morning at 6 on my way to work. I park at Beardsley Park. I cry all I want to cry. Then I open my TikTok. And I'm like, okay, this is what Jonathan would want you to do. And I start my TikToks, and then I laugh at my own TikToks, okay?
I laugh at your TikToks because you're
and
so
I
funny.
do a lot of them with him because my son will never be forgotten. Okay, my son was popular. My son was a very smart kid. He was loving, respectful. He grew up with my parents. We grew up together because I was very young. I was 15 when I had him. So my mom raised us together. And we did so many things together. We used to go dancing together, motorcycle riding. He was like, come on, Mom, let's go. And I'm like, can you go find the girl? I can see you being a
motorcycle rider.
Yeah,
I can see it.
Can you go pick up one of your girlfriends? He's like, no, Mom, come on. So we were very tight. Besides mother and son, we were best of friends. Best of friends.
So I'm getting from ways that families can kind of cope in a way, right, is to reach out to each other. If somebody comes to your mind, call them, things like that. Iris, for you, I have to say, I don't know how you do it because you're in the health profession. Like you must encounter this
Daily.
dead on almost daily because you work at a hospital, right?
I do.
So how do you take care of yourself? Same question as Brenda. What are things that work for you in knowing that you have to still deal with everything that you're going through, and then you have to help other people, because people in the helping profession people don't see us as everyday people. We don't grieve, we don't go to the liquor store, we don't have fun, you know what I'm saying? It's like, we're not regular people, so we are, but people don't see us. They expect us to fix their problems, not that you have problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do you cope with that, especially working in a hospital?
It gives me the opportunity to share my testimony with others, especially when I see a patient with tracts, tell them about my child's story and basically encourage them into change and asking them to think about their mother. How would your mother feel if this was to happen? Because I was not expecting this to happen to my daughter. That's how I deal with it at work, sharing my testimony. At home, I do everything from taking me time, whether it's getting in my bedroom, which is my sanctuary, just closing in my room and listening to a few Hertz frequencies. I'm much into sound music and sound healing. Anything from writing. I'm also a writer.
A writer.
So anything from writing. The past few days I have been writing in Spanish, writing a lot of my passion and a lot of my hurts, and also my frustrations in regards to this situation, because as I mentioned before, there is a lot of growth in the system, whether it's, the medical health, whether it's the agencies out there, whether it's the police department, whether it's 211. There is so much room for growth and improvement if we're going to be proactive, and be providing these services and being a hub and, and linking with all of these people that have all these issues, and self-care is definitely important because you cannot give to anybody what you don't have yourself. So it is important for us to take that time, whether it's doing what you like, whether it's going to the beach, going out with your kids, talking to friends, writing,
Dancing by yourself.
Mechanisms. Yes, any coping mechanisms.
So we have pictures here on our desk here. I would love for you just to really quickly just share who everyone is and how you're connected to them.
Okay. This is my son, Jonathan Figgy, my golden child. This is my daughter-in-law, who also was poisoned with fentanyl the Sunday before the Wednesday that my goddaughter passed away.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so I had to bury 4 people because my father committed suicide because of all this. Reynaldo is the son of Janet Serrano. I went to school with her, I grew up with her, and didn't even know this was her son. The times that we went out to Iranistan and gave food after our work hub, he came up to us to talk to me. He gives me a hug and he says, "Mom, don't forget, Figgy's not here, but I am." We used to call him Cholo.
This was May. Our event was May.
Yes, that's
so
when
this
I saw
is
him.
recent.
Yes, and this was
is
recent.
a month ago.
When I saw that, I couldn't believe it, and I called her really quick, like, "Oh my God, the kid that used to come up to us on the bike every time we were out there." I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? I know he comes from a great family, and we spoke with Janet, and she definitely agreed for us to have him here.
Oh, we welcome.
And
This is Anthony Edwards, the son of Bob Edwards. He's one of our admins as well.
Oh, wow.
of course, Anna.
And
And
of course, and
my
Anna.
daughter,
And Anna. And you have other children too, right?
I do. I have 4 other children.
So tell us a little bit about them and then your purpose for this continued work.
I have.
She's like, okay, let me tell you about my children.
I have 3 more kids, 2 sons and a daughter that are mine, and I raised 2 girls and a boy from a family member. So I have a total of 7 kids at home. I have 6 grandkids and 1 on the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Which I love very much, all my babies. Yeah, I have a house full, so I be busy. I have a great support system from my family, my sisters, my mom, everybody. So, you know, in that way, I'm pretty good with family support, and also, you know, my goddaughter's mom, always. And your kids?
Well, we have Angela, who's 32, Abraham, who's 26, Amanda, who's 25, Anna, of course, she was 22. She will be forever 22, and my youngest one, Dahlia, who is 17. Awesome kids, super blessed, also super busy.
I met Dahlia
You did.
at one of your events, and she does like eyelashes, and I saw her. She's got the most beautiful eyelashes. I'm like, isn't that heavy? She goes, no, I got this. And she's got like a whole business of that, which I think is amazing.
I'm trying to get her to join my daughter. My daughter has a business in Milford Beach. It's called Lash Addicts. And she just moved to Miami and opened another business.
Oh my goodness.
She teaches the class. So I'm trying to get
That's so
Dahlia in to go to
wonderful.
her class, you know, and
So we've been talking with Reverend Iris Sita and Brenda Moreno, co-founders of Cope Ministry, that is helping to provide services, awareness, referrals, and help to individuals impacted by the opioid epidemic, in particular fentanyl. They've become like an expert on that. On the screen, we're going to put some information on that. If individuals, if you know that they're in crisis, there's 3 really important phone numbers that you should know that are available 24 hours a day. And it's the new one, which is the Suicide and Mental Health Crisis Care number, which is a national number, which is 988. Anytime that you feel, you know, I'd rather lose a friendship and keep somebody alive, and call 911. And then 211 is for all type of suicide, mental health, any type of crisis, any type of information that you need in order to do that. So when we're talking about reaching out for services, you mentioned earlier that there's room for improvement. What are some things that you said that one of the things that was definitely helpful, that would have been helpful, was for somebody to come and talk to you about what was going on. What are some other things that you've learned over your work of helping people that these are needed services? Can you mention some of those kind of like lived experience, those life lessons?
Yes, definitely. I have one very important one, and that is the improvement of the 211 response. And we need to be a little bit faster when it comes to assigning a worker or a navigator. Okay, so we can be reached out. I would have loved to have been reached out, you know, when I was in crisis. So, you know, any type of service that can reach out to anybody that has just lost a child or a loved one to an accidental overdose would be great, because I did without that, and I find that I could have really used the support. And that's why I decided if I don't have it, then I'm going to create it for other people.
Absolutely. So let me just kind of digress there for just 1 second. Do you think that it's the 211 response system, or would it have been helpful to have like some kind of advocate or somebody at the hospital that, as that's happening, would reach out to you? I know that they go hand in hand, but...
Well, right now there's overdose response teams in different agencies such as Liberation, CCAR, and GBAB. So they have not just their vans, but they also have those services in place right now, you know.
Okay.
And that's one of the changes that we have seen, you know, take place within the last 7 months or so.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Brenda? What are your thoughts?
well, I agree with everything, you know, with the Recovery Network and Liberation and all that. But I wish that I would have known more of that.
Mm-hmm. I will say that in the work and working with both of you, I have seen that there's these mobile response teams, you mentioned Liberation, and I've seen a van where if somebody sees it, it looks like
colorful.
Yeah, like really,
Tie-dye, the
yeah.
tie-dye.
It looks like a tie-dye on the outside of it. But that van, you can go in and ask for services, referral, confidential. I've seen that you've mentioned GBAP, and they have what's called the Vehicle for Change. That's specifically for young people. If you see it, it's called Vehicle for Change on the outside of it. And if you just need to charge your phone, if you just want to talk to somebody, there's no wrong way to ask for help. And if people are looking for help from you ladies, what's the website again that they would go on to?
It is copeofbridgeport.com, and the phone number is 203-617-7661.
So are there any last thoughts that you want our viewers to be able to kind of, I don't want to say take your ministry out into the street, but just take your kind of like help you champion, like how do they know? We have just a few minutes if you can share what might be like your final thoughts about how they can get involved.
Become knowledgeable on the topic, and do not think that this isn't something that would happen to you.
That's right.
If I would have known then what I've known now, I would have provided Narcan and fentanyl testing strips the same way I provide condoms and dental dams. Harm reduction works.
You know, you both mentioned that I didn't catch that earlier. You said that you give out these kits for if somebody goes to overdose. Where can they find you? Because you're like on a regular.
Well, I usually go out on Saturdays right before school. I start school at 7:30 and I go out between 6 and 6:30, and I just hit the east side basically. District 137 is where I usually work.
Ladies, you are amazing, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us.
We want to remind our viewers about the 3 phone numbers that you should know if you need help, because this is really, really important. We want to make sure that you know that it's the Suicide and Prevention and Crisis Hotline, which you guys mentioned, which was the 988 that you mentioned, that you were talking about, that not only are our children affected, but families are affected too. So that's really important. If you're looking for information, 211 for anything at the state, anything that has to do, and 211 is a national number that's in many states. And then, as always, call 911 if you need any type of help for any reason, because we want our families here. We want you involved, and we want to make sure that you're all making a difference in the way that you reach out to individuals. They provided amazing advice. Stay tuned, stay involved, and check in. We want to welcome you and thank you for staying with us for another episode of Connecticut at Your Service. We come to you each Tuesday at 6:30, where we highlight individuals that are making a difference in our community. I want to thank the cast and crew here for helping us out and for all you do every day.